How do you explain the disciples? Did you realize all the disciples of Jesus were called out of duty to ministry? None of them were called from the street. There was no lazy man in ministry. All of them were called out of duty. The other day I was in Nairobi, I was speaking to some pastors' friends. So the pastor who was launching a church is a musician. So there were a lot of these musicians, former musicians, all these big names that you've heard about in Kenya. And then when I asked about all these musicians, I realized all of them have gone through issues. Some have gone through terrible diseases. Some have had marital issues. Some have had financial challenges. And I was asking myself, how comes they are going through this? And I discovered the reason was they used what God gave them in grace to question God's faithfulness. You know what they did? They had no name, they had no money, they had no say, they had no face. And God gave them a revelation of a song. They sold their CDs and their music and began to doubt God's faithfulness and took the money from the ministry, from the music, and began something called tent making because they were questioning the faithfulness of God. So the tent collapsed and the grace has been shut. You know, Bishop Atsango, they say in theology, you don't form a doctrine out of one statement. The word tent making in the Bible is a saying. It's not even a chapter. It's not even a verse. It's a word, a saying in the speaking of Paul. But we try to build a doctrine out of it. That a pastor should take offerings to do what they call tent making, because you can't be sure of ministry. These people will leave church anytime. So make sure you have your own kiosk somewhere in case they leave. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And then what happened? You lose your relationship with God. You shut the grace, the flow of grace. The kiosk collapses because it was not blessed. And the people leave to confirm your fear. Huh? Mulisikia wanawake ambao wana pesa yao wameweka kando in case mzee aende. Nimesema nini? Mzee alienda ama hakwenda? Because kama umefanya savings ya kutosha na ilikuwa ya hii, si ikuwe hivyo.